A very good morning and welcome to Inside Nigeria, coming to you live from Leadership Podcast Studio. This morning we'll be walking you through major stories from 5 different Nigerian newspapers. My name is Tion Joseph, and permit me this morning to begin the show with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, which is the Leadership newspaper. Okay, so on leadership this morning we have 2 stories, but the first one is a developing story. I'll go straight to the second lead story, which is 2023 campaign kickoff. Presidential candidates sell their governance agenda to Nigerians. Let's take the bullets real quick. The first one says PDP's article premises exclusivity, prosperity. Second one says we match word with action, no more excuses. Labour Party's Obi. Next one says, I'll reinvent MKO Abiola's Better Life program, SDP's Adebayo. Next one says, APC holds prayers, campaign kick-off date undecided. Next bullet says, candidates to sign peace accord today, Tinubu likely absent. Very last bullet will be taken on leadership before moving forward will be, don't allow politicians wreck Nigeria or Asanjo. You can find the stories and even much more on www.leadership.ng. Let's head straight to the next daily. And on my list, I have the Vanguard. The lead story on Vanguard says, PDP campaign flag off. We must halt Nigeria's descent into anarchy. This is coming from article. Moving down there, the first bullet says, Nigerians more disunited now than during Civil War. Next one says, launches 3 books. Begs all PDP members for support. Next one says, I can't win elections alone. Ignore doomsayers. Governor Emmanuel. Are you Wike Makinde Otom absent? Why I didn't attend Atiku's book launch, Anyoku. Very last bullet says, Ikwazu didn't snub Atiku in Enugu, Abia, PDP. Let's head straight to the next daily. And we have the studio, The Nation. On The Nation this morning, major sources, Wike Makinde Otom Sean Atiku's campaign launch. Moving down there, first bullet says, Ogwanyi Ikwazu, Southwest chieftains also absent. Next, NEC member alleges 28 million offer to derail opposition party. The very last bullet on The Nation this morning says, PDP flag bearer promises restructuring good governance. That is all we have on The Nation. Let's move briskly on to Punch, and this summarizes the newspaper review for this morning. And on the Punch newspaper this morning, the major story says, Atiku launches campaign, books, aggrieved governors boycott event. Moving down there, first bullet says, Buhari government has failed, Nigeria in disarray, our federalism 40, PDP candidate. Next bullet says, why Otom Makinde Ikwazu others won't campaign for ex-vice president, says AIDS. Our very last bullet will be taken on Punch before handing over to Winifred this morning. It says, PDP remains a strong party. We are campaigning to win, Governor Emmanuel. Thank you so much. This concludes our newspaper reviews, but the show is just getting started because as I speak with you, Winifred is already in the studio, prepared to do justice to the stories and even much more. I'll be back again 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. My name is Tion Joseph. Do have a great day.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Show of Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Weber. With me in the studio we have an associate professor and head of department computer engineering, Federal University of Technology, Mina, Dr. James Agaju. Dr. James, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Pleasure is mine.
Yes, thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. And we've started on a series, Nigeria at 62. We are looking at the state of the nation, and we are talking about the education sector today, Thursday, on Inside Nigeria. Nigeria 62. So, sir, how do you assess the state of education presently?
First of all, let me start by thanking you for having me at the leadership studio.
Yes.
It's an opportunity to come and interact and share what is on ground. Thank you for this wonderful topic. It's really a topic of choice at this stage of our growth. 62.
Yes, Nigeria 62.
62 is by no means a number you can throw away in a man's life. It's quite important that at 62 there should be some degree of accountability. That's important that we must stress this. So far, I would say so far, so good. Nigeria at 62 with regards to educational growth and development is still work in progress. I'm not there yet. At least around efforts are being put in place to surround them. I have so many things to talk about that I'm actually taking time to put in some things and comparisons. Because it's when you benchmark what you do, some standards outside our environment, that you begin to appreciate what effort you've actually put in. Now, to a big extent, the society today is really suffering one very serious menace, and it's menace of insecurity. And there's a nexus. You kind of connect insecurity and lack of provision of basic education. Because these youths tend to grow and they grow as angry adults having nothing to do. So, things have been done, but much need to be done because education is the key to a country's growth, whatever way you look at it. It's quite important that we invest more in education and we equally rejig our technique because of the program, I'm going to be giving us some statistics how other people actually do time to go. But so far so good. Let me say, it's 2 years in retrospect. It's still work in progress. We are still not there yet, but our target is still achievable. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You said something that there's a nexus between basic education and security issues that we're having in the country. And this brings to mind the statement. He said it take about 30 years to speak for her. And when reading the report, it says education, they have to take education to the north. So how can this be done given the prevailing situation now?
Good, thank you. That's a very good one.
How do you co-opt the leaders from the North Zone to key to it? Don't forget that the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, built Amaduri schools, and where are the schools today?
I think indirectly, your question has found an answer in a way. And how do we see this? You mentioned the leadership in the North. How are they going to integrate basic education into the lifestyle of people? Since we are seeing it as a key, has been very key and critical.
And even with the security issue, we have so many numbers of out-of-school children now on the increase. In fact, it has I think I've forgotten the estimate now. I think it's over 10.3 million.
Yes, at the time,
years ago.
12 million
Yes.
is fluctuating, but fluctuating as in on the increase, it's not
Yes.
coming down.
No.
And something critical need to be done. So, like you said,
what should be done?
okay, yeah, like you said, when you were making particular reference to the Goodluck, President Goodluck's, the then President Goodluck administration, where he went extra mile to build Almajiris.
Excuse.
Yes, the leadership has to show will. Where there is a will, there will be a way. But if you have everything around you and you are not taking advantage of what is around you, because the drive is not there to take advantage of what is around you, the whole of them will just rot away. That was actually what I felt happened then. People never saw the implication of not aligning to that cause. That cause has you have a scheme on ground that will probably benefit the children and the grassroots, but the leadership at that time did not really appreciate the benefit of that scheme, and they were just thinking the old norm was. Let me give you an instance, which is quite important. If you have a fan that's the normal fan that rolls, and you put off this fan, now the idea is that the fan is off, but you see the blade keeps spinning.
Yes.
So, to someone who probably is coming into the room to see the fan spinning, he might not know that the fan has been put off. So, the effect of putting off the fan is not noticed immediately. It's probably after some minutes. So that is what happened to the aspect of education, specifically in the north. As at the time, the danger about lack of provision of basic education was spelled out for the leadership. They saw everything still going on, they are normal. That was the time that plan was put off. But the plan was still rolling then. They never knew, they were just living borrowed time. Now the fan has stopped, and that is the implication and the consequence we are suffering. So there is need for a real massive move towards educating the child. I understand quite well that basically in the north we have a tradition, and the tradition is having to see most of these young youths who are sent out for some religious to acquire religious knowledge.
That's what I was also going. They'd rather prefer Islamic education.
Yes, no,
Western education.
It's in order. It's in order. It's in order. But the issue here is that we have taken time to carry out survey with different scholars, and they said it is possible to actually carry on with the two, and that the hybrid is possible. It's achievable, where the child will still be undertaking Western education aside the Islamic education. It's possible. So if you look at the gain or the technique, we can just come up with a technique and a syllabus that will accommodate the two, a curriculum that can accommodate the two, and it will just keep flowing.
It should be seamless.
Yes. So at this point, it's really critical. Some, like if you remember the past former minister, central bank governor, that's then Emir Sanusi, way back, he's been hitting hard on this thing, and most persons never saw or understood. They were not able to come to terms with what you were seeing then. But now it's like the bean has been spilled the bean, and it's really terrible to control, because these young youths, when they grow as redundant adults, and at the same time angry adults. They get angry at the system. They feel this sense of hopelessness, responsibility, entitlement. Yeah, sense of entitlement. They feel they have a right that was not given to them, and for that reason, they want to run it rough. And the consequences is on those who probably must have worked hard before, because we are all living in it now. and we're all praying that it gets better. So, with regards to the issue of maybe it will take 30 years, 40 years, yes. What that thing is simply saying is the spinning fan analogy I came up with. That when you put off a fan, it takes time to see the result. So, when you start educating massive enlightenment and educating the child now, whether boy or girl child, it's going to take about 10 years before. The benefits of education
to
for
change
long
his
run.
ideology.
Yes, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Now, back to our education system. According to UNESCO recommendation, developing countries are supposed to devote 25% of their annual budget to public education. Yet Nigeria has fallen short over the years to do just that. And we have countries like South Africa and Ghana, even though South Africa is about 23%, while Ghana maintains about 16%. Nigeria is less than 10% over the years. So what is your take on that?
You see, I'm happy you give those statistics, right? The 10% you even mentioned is not definite, because sometimes it falls short of that, sometimes 5%, between 5 and 10%. And you see, it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because most economic drivers, I'm going to give you some statistics. Let me take the China as a case study.
But China is a developed country.
Yeah.
It's
not developed. China is still
countries.
classified under the developing, under countries that are categorized under developing countries, incidentally. Really. But there is something we need to take from them. You understand? China went into this massive education, not because they were going to, in the 70s, not because they were going to get the benefits in the 70s, but because they saw it as a way out of their present predicament. And they had the issue of population, which we can equally draw to ourselves because we're beginning to understand, feel the effect of population problem now. So, what do you do? How do you translate this inherent danger to wealth? Because every individual now who probably is fast on a liability can now be transformed into an asset. So they went into massive human capital development. So massive human capital development means every individual must have something to give. So and it takes education to be able to acquire skills, and they went into it. As of today, an average of 4.2 million bachelor degree graduates graduate per year in China. And when this thing happens, what is it? Normally, if you were here now, we'll be complaining that we have so many unemployed youths. In their own case, once you've gone to school, you get proper education, the entrepreneurial skill, that skill that will transform your content into business benefit for the purpose of making profit, will be put into play, and grants will be made available for you by government. So if we are probably 4.2 million, and each of us we are financed by government to go and advance what we've learned from school, by the time 4.2 million come out with the output, you know what that's going to be for a nation.
Now, Dr. James, you just mentioned the entrepreneurial skills of students that are being taught. Now, there's been talk that Nigeria's curriculum, that is a curriculum in the universities, is obsolete. So what is being done about it? And a World Bank official once said that Nigerian graduates are not employable because of what are being trained out at the end of the day. So does it have a parallel to that?
My sister, let's look at this very, very well.
You are an associate professor.
Yes,
so
let's look at it very well. I need to do this because I'm fully in it. And
yes, that is why I'm asking you.
I am going to give you the real truth. Now, let me draw your attention to something that might probably shock you. Amidst this epileptic education system, on daily, there's hardly any day that go by that you don't get to hear the exploits of your fellow Nigerian brothers and sisters that have traveled abroad. Most of them attended these same universities that is being adjudged, universities that produce graduates that are not employed. So you're going to ask, what magic is being done? So it tells you that there's a thin line between where we are now and where we should be. If that little gap, if they can melt it, then we are everything. So it takes a competent administration that actually understands the connection between education, growth, and development. Because the system as it stands now is about a system that can immediately, as in short, in the short run, deliver benefits. Why most economics around the world think about the long run, and because of this short run, that's why you get to see NNPC probably might be giving quick, immediate response when they come calling, because that is the cash cow where money is being generated from. But that of education is for a long run, and if it's for a long run, it outstays the period of those who even establish the scheme, because it's going to be a running scheme. So it's really important we take this into perspective, that the aspect of graduate not being employable is a very thin line that will not take our policy makers what to do.
And apart from not being also employable too, we are having half-baked graduates too. That is also part of it. So what is happening? I emphasized earlier, do we have obsolete curriculum
Yes.
that needs updating?
Yes. A curriculum is supposed. I have a curriculum developer too.
Okay.
I develop curriculum, and curriculum is developed at various intervals based on trends around the world. So because the issue of education is about universality, universe.
Yes.
That's why you see when you see maybe university lecturers always saying there's need for us to go to conferences abroad, make visitations abroad, is to benchmark what you're doing with what is obtainable outside, so as to help see if you are up there. So you can bring new ideas, and when you go there, you take ideas there. So it's a global village we are actually operating. So nobody is an island on his own. So curriculum needs to be developed based on very recent demands and move. But the problem within the academic sector is that there's so much bureaucracy. I think I need to let the viewers understand what is happening. There's so much bureaucracy. When I mean bureaucracy, the process of curriculum development is actually procedural. So normally, maybe within every five years, if you see the curriculum and make sure that you update it based on recent trend and demands. But there is one clause, because I've been a member of curriculum committee at different instances. There's one clause we do put there, that when you're developing a curriculum, this curriculum should be minimal in the sense that if you have maybe 1 to 10 items being spelled out by the curriculum committee, to tell you is the minimum. In case there's something you see around your area and you feel it should be added to this thing, yes, give them the 10. Then you can make yours 11, 12, 13. So as you improve. So that is one. Then two, you're talking about curriculum. That is one. Two, the staff themselves need to be trained and retrained. If I'm a professor and I have my professorship was based on the ideas I had in the past, and new trends are coming out. Doesn't mean because I'm a professor then that is the ceiling. No, a professor need to go out and get more ideas, because on his own he's equally carrying out research too, of course, but he needs to be supported. He needs to be encouraged. The funds are made available for researches to be carried out, and by so doing, you see that upgrade in things.
Okay, now talking about this curriculum, you said yes, you're a member of a curriculum committee too, like that. So, why does it take so long since there's a committee already in place to review this curriculum for universities? Why does it? You talked about bureaucracy. So, why is the asked to not pushing for it?
Okay, no, it's not.
There's the issue not that is not is it not critical enough?
It's key and critical, and it's important. The when I'm on bureaucracy, I'm talking about processes. Because let me tell you how it works. When when it's time for curriculum development, it is usually bottom up. When I mean bottom up, to the BRS minimum must make contribution. That you have the Nigerian University Commission, and when these notices are sent out, they are sent out to various institutions. The institutions have the Directorate of Academic Planning, where this is, so that's where the first entry points at the university. Then from the Directorate of Academic Planning, they now go to faculties. From the faculties to the departments. So at the departmental level, they begin the staffs based on their experience and area of specialization and trending area that feel and the gaps they discovered in the ongoing curriculum. They begin to make their inputs, and we have committees developed, set up at departmental level first. When that committee gets done, that document is sent to the faculty. Faculty take a look at it. From faculty, it goes to the Director of Academic Planning. And when it gets there, then straight up to NUC, Nigerian University Commission. And when then they have their own body there to that go through this and ratify it before it becomes a functional document. So those are the processes I'm actually talking about. So it's not just something you do overnight. But I am saying that there are things you can leverage on. For instance, when I said there is a minimum where by the time the curriculum is made available and you as an expert, the curriculum is given to you as if it's being imposed on you. Fine. Yes, item 1 to 10. Please make sure you cover this thing. If you now feel there are gaps, things that need to be taught to them that maybe were not captured, whichever, then you can add to that 10, make it 14. And by so doing, the students are actually benefiting. So I think that is one window. But not forgetting the fact that staffs too need to be exposed, because this thing is about being universal. I said there is nothing like a local professor. A professor is international. So you don't localize your lecturers. You make sure they move around with fellow academic peers around the world and update themselves. So when they come back home richer in ideas, psychologically, this fulfillment will be there. So it's actually key. They all go hand in hand.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, this is Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. We are looking at Nigeria 62 with focus on the education sector. With me in the studio has been Dr. James Agajo. Agajo is the Associate Professor, Head of Department of Computer Engineering, FUT MENA. Thank you so much once again for being in the studio. So we are going on a break. When we come back, we are going to be looking at other issues in the education sector. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. In case you're just tuning in, this is Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Webber, and with me in the studio is Dr. James Adajo, who is an associate professor and head of Department Computer of Engineering, Federal University of Technology. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Now we are focusing on education sector. Going back to where your base is, ASU has been on strike now for more than 7 months, starting from February. What is happening?
Yes, really, the issue of ASU, normally we don't, the way ASU operates,
Don't talk about it.
It's not as if you don't talk about it, but it's bottom up. I can just profile, just mix with very.
Why are lecturers so angry and reluctant to even listen to the pleas of students and well-meaning Nigerians to return back to the classrooms?
Well, you see, let me give you an instance. I can remember way back in the late 90s when I was in the university too as a student, and ASU went on strike. And what happened was that our students were angry because they had one strike too many, and we're not happy about the way ASU was going on strike. So our students, we confronted our lecturer way back then. I don't know where he could be now. And when we got there, we told him, sir, we are tired and frustrated. Why are you people dictating our lives with your incessant strikes? You see, so we're not happy, but all we wanted to do was to graduate and move out of the system. The man now said, gentlemen, you will not understand. I said, what is it? We didn't go there happy. He saw how we were feeling. And he said, gentlemen, you will not understand. This battle we are in, if we don't allow them to fight this battle to a reasonable, logical conclusion, or let me, I won't call it a fight, we don't allow them pursue, and I don't call it a fight, let me withdraw that, we will not fight. We don't allow them conclude this thing. Some of us might end up continuing this task. Never did I know then I was going to be a lecturer. And I can tell you, I can assure you, some of my colleagues who went there as students with me seeing are equally lecturers. They are in the battle today. You don't know where the lecturer is, but he just said that then. And he actually pointed out the reasons why. And the reasons have not changed. That's over 20, close to 25 years now. The reasons have not changed. Proper funding of education is just where the issue is. Making education a priority and not paying lip service to education. And so I think because when you see the members of academic staffs or maybe our key schools, executive talking, they were making reference to the 70s, 80s, even 60s, when Nigerian universities were attracting foreign students and foreign lecturers. You go to university, you see the mix of both foreign and local, and it was something to applaud as yes, that something good is happening. But today, all of that is gone. You hardly could see that happening. And I can assure you, I can tell you now for free that in as much as government is not seeing academics as a key revenue generating area, it's just looking at it on the short term, if you want to look at it on the long term, which I feel is the basis for making projections.
But apart from that, lecturers are on strike and they are angry with the president that federal government actually that is not meeting their demands. What about the situation whereby the citadels of higher learning, that is universities now, are supposed to be centers of excellence, research institutions, but we are not seeing that too from the universities.
Okay, you see,
and nobody is holding you to task.
You see, when you ask questions in this direction, the answers are everywhere around you. Just for us to probably echo it out. It still boils down to prioritizing education. If you go to most advanced climes, the time will not permit me, I will have been reading names for you of your fellow brothers and sisters doing exploits outside the shores of this country. So is it the same colleague or ally of yours that was here with you and he went upon going there? So people are even better than you get to see them excelling in the area, in the field of research and all of that. So you need to ask, what is it that has happened differently? And those things are what we are actually pinpointing at, that these things should be taken seriously. That aspect of budget you just mentioned is one key area. You see, at interval, we appreciate the fact that there's never a time government is rich. It's about paucity of funds.
That is why I want to ask you, do you honestly believe that federal government has the money?
No.
And that it's just not, is refusing to meet access.
I think what is happening, sorry, excuse me, what is happening here is that this thing has been lingering for so long.
Yes, it has.
Quite well. And
I was also a victim of ASU strike.
No, there's virtually nobody.
I did 6 years for a 4 year course.
Yes. It's really quite unfortunate. We're not happy about it. But it's something that can be arrested. For now, there is need for further engagement. ASU and the government side. This roundtable talk should be promoted. So at some of the things we are itemizing, that do you believe that funds are there? Because some persons are saying that the pointer to show that these things is actually true is not 100%. Because there are some areas where they feel funds are going. It's only when it gets to the aspect of education. Other areas too are suffering. But there are some other areas they feel you are unnecessarily prioritizing against some major key areas because you don't have a responsibility.
Also, you talked about lecturers not going for maybe training and all those stuff. That is what TED Fund is.
No, TED Fund incidentally.
To also fill in the gap.
Yes, you see, I'm happy you brought the issue of TED Fund because I said most of the questions you were asking, their answers are not just far-fetched. First, TED Fund, 100% is the brainchild of ASU.
Yes,
no doubt about
that's
it.
What I'm saying.
The same ASU.
It's an intervention.
Very good. The same TED Fund came to light on the basis of the sacrifice made by ASU. If they had gone to sleep, they would not have been TED Fund.
Exactly.
And today, as we speak, TED Fund has taken over virtually most of the aspect of funding in our higher institution today. Why? Because they've surrendered everything, most of to TED Fund. TED Fund is just an intervention. Other responsibilities from the federal government should be taken seriously. It's not about TED Fund. There are institutions.
But TED Fund is a federal government agency.
Yes. No,
so
but
it's federal government.
Federal government agency, but the entire responsibility should not be shouldered by TED Fund alone. I don't know if you know how this system works. They have their own responsibilities cut out for them
No,
when
no,
it comes to
no,
finance.
no. What are you saying now? Are you saying that federal government it has reached the level? Do you think Nigeria has reached the level where the federal government removes its hands off education to the states?
Yes, I would say yes in a way,
It should
and
remove its
no
hands.
in a way too. How? Funding of you see, when you go to most advanced climes, the process, some of the institutions most of the institutions still get funding from the federal government, but a particular percentage, no matter how small. Then the institutions will grow to the level where they can be self-sustaining. So that's why I'm saying that there should be engagements, meeting, talks between the ESCOs of ASU and the government side on how to project forward and see what is most feasible. What I mean most feasible, most realistic, so that we can avert these strikes. Because for now, if you say you want to hands off completely, there has been no plan on ground on just abandoning responsibilities to us. Because there will be talk, the modality will have to come into play. Then to what level and the years of responsibilities when it comes to funding. We have a kind of monitoring on the specified time which you can project and say, okay, within so time, this is what we are looking at. And that thing has to combine this issue of inclusiveness is quite important, and I think that is what is missing here, because you are not seeing the government side and it's like we're just two parallel lines. There is need for engagement, and that is what is happening here. Information gap is really wide between ASU and the government side. Otherwise, some of these things would have been leaving the board because of this collective bargaining. Because everybody must be a player, a contributor. So we see, because Nigeria belongs to all of us. The educational system belongs to all of us. So we should not be working in isolation as if nobody is important. Everybody is a stakeholder in this thing. So this inclusiveness is important. So we can now forge a way forward and to see what can be done. People have been urging university autonomy. The university autonomy will require us what? Bringing the government side, the ASU side, to a round table, and we collectively agree on what to do. And everybody sign, seal, and we go. But the way it is now, it's about everybody on the high horse. I will not accept, we should not accept, and the system suffers. It's really unfortunate that we're in this, because among the League of Nations, when it comes to education, this situation we are in now is setting us back. It's not.
You see that some Nigerians are going to even smaller countries like Benin Republic, Ghana.
It's ridiculous when you see some of these
to go for education tourism.
Yes. Okay, so much money is being repatriated as a result of this.
And that there's so much focus on forex.
Forex, yes, really, because the pressure is on forex now. And all this money was
on forex.
You're supposed to be developing our own
tourism of different kinds. You have medical, you have education.
You see?
Anyway, let's move over again. Let's go back. Now, Nigeria operates this system, 6334 system. Has it helped in boosting the education sector?
Yes. The idea behind 6334 is good. And if you look at I still use China as a case study, because way back they were in our situation and they came out of it because they had the will and they got their results. 6334 is supposed to be 6 years of primary school, 3 years of junior secondary, senior secondary, the 3 years, then 4 years for the university education. So what China did was that they had this 633, another 3 again, then 4. So what is it? They had the primary school for 6 years, 3 years junior secondary school, 3 years for senior secondary school. Then this aspect, very important, vocational education. 3 years vocational education. So that you narrow if it's photography,
Yes.
you want to be good at, you go for photography after.
But Nigeria introduces that in junior secondary, that 3 years.
Yes, I'm coming there. The reason why this one is not really giving us the needed or the projected results. Yes, you have the vocational education for 3 years. Then after that, you now have a skill. You acquire a skill. Then if you so wish, you can just stay there and continue advancing and developing that skill.
Yes.
Or if you probably want to go for a degree, you go for a degree. And that was one of the revolution that China experienced, and we're thinking them, So each and every, the population that was being played around, that the massive populations becoming a liability, instantly became an asset because these people you have billions of persons acquiring skill. So this skill is not for nothing. Whatever they manufacturing, whatever they inventing, by the time you sum them up, they become a source of generating foreign earnings and so on. So I think ours too went that way. 6334. A very good idea that you have 6 years of compulsory primary education. For the 3 years, that's secondary education. That 3 years there, we are thinking that you could acquire skill within that 3 years. So that was where that's where that aspect of vocational that it's supposed to come within that period. Yeah. So if a student is not too smart in school, he could just continue with the trade he's actually learned. But if you feel want to advance, you've learned something.
Are we generating the right result?
No. You see, these things, you don't
Or you are advocating for
them.
the China model?
No. As in, I'm coming to I'm on our own aspect of 6334 now. There is supposed to be corresponding funding. The budget for that program had problem as far as I'm concerned. It was not well funded. So the difference between the 6-5-4 system we had before, it used to be 6 and 5 years secondary.
Yes.
Differentiating it from the 6-5-4, the old model, was difficult because it's just like the same thing. Because we are expecting that by the time you go to secondary school and your first 3 years, which is the junior secondary school, you're supposed to come out hot and smoky as in. But we're not realizing that because the machineries for advancing that was not in place. These things were not properly funded. And
you're saying that UBEC is not filling the gap. UBEC is not filling the gap.
Universal basic education. And the other time we talk about the commission, I don't know if they are.
But the problem too is that most states are not bringing in their counterpart funding. You're supposed to bring your counterpart funding and access the funds. So most states are not accessing the funds because they are not bringing in
their counterpart funding. See, it still brings me down.
That's the
issue of funding. So the programs of us and they now run it as just the normal. So you can hardly differentiate between the old system and
this system.
So students just go to school. I hardly could hear, except maybe for financial issues of having to not being able to pay school fees. You hardly hear students saying, when we went to school after my junior secondary school, I never bothered. I went into welding because I learned the act of welding in school and I advanced. It's nothing like that. So it just run as a normal academic model we had before. So the issue of funding and the commission not monitoring it, something more need to be done. To be frank, it's very important.
We are running out of time, but before we go, I just want to ask you, I want to get your view. How do we move the education sector forward? Nigeria 62.
Oh, at 62.
Yes.
62 years, counting from 1 to 62, is no small measure. At 62.
If Nigeria were a man, you have a grandchildren.
Yeah, a grandfather. So, as a grandfather, you should be able to count your achievement. As grandfather, you not be telling us, well, it's still work in progress, but it should be appreciable work in progress. So we are not there yet. we cannot give ourselves.
So what should be done to boost the education sector?
Yes, there should be massive government commitment to the area of education. Funding will to drive it. And again, the expertise, don't politicize education. It's for experts. It's not for maybe political allies, political friends. It's for experts. We have people that have developed other economics, education-wise. We go sort out for them. And that's why at every point in time, when I think we are getting close to an electionary year now, please, Nigerians, make sure your PVT should talk for you. Nigeria belongs to all of us. The continual existence of this nation is our pride and our asset. So we must all work to preserve it. So it's quite important that funding will to drive education is very important, because education is that tool you need for growth and development of a nation, both today and the future.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, you've heard it from the mouth of Dr. James Agajo. Dr. James Agajo is an associate professor and head of department, computer engineering, Federal University of Technology, Mina. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
So we've been talking about Nigeria at 62 series. Yesterday we talked about political, today education, and tomorrow we'll be looking at the health sector. It's a pleasure to have you, host you on the program. I'm Winifred. Don't forget, tomorrow is another day. Same time, same station. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.